Good evening, dear listener, and welcome. Wherever you are right now, whatever kind of day you are carrying with you, know that this moment does not demand anything from you. You do not need to perform, improve, analyze, or resolve anything. You have already done enough today. This space exists only for rest, and you are invited to enter it gently, without effort, without expectation, without pressure. If your eyes are open, they may slowly grow heavier. If they are already closed, you may simply notice the subtle weight of your body where it rests, supported, held, and safe. As the day releases its grip, you may still feel echoes of movement inside your mind. Thoughts may rise and fall without structure. Fragments of conversations, images from earlier hours, unfinished ideas drifting through awareness. There is no need to stop them. Ancient humans understood that the mind does not quiet through force. It quiets through rhythm, through repetition, through a gradual shift of attention away from the outer world and back into the body. Tonight, you are not being asked to silence your thoughts, only to allow them to pass, like distant sounds fading into the night. Long before artificial light reshaped human schedules, the arrival of night was unmistakable. Darkness unfolded slowly, like a curtain being drawn across the sky. The temperature shifted. Sounds softened. Even the animals moved differently. This natural progression was the first ritual of sleep, one that no human needed to learn. The body responded automatically, guided by signals older than language itself. As light diminished, alertness softened. As shadows deepened, vigilance loosened. Sleep was not an interruption of life. It was a continuation of it, flowing naturally from the rhythm of the earth. Ancient people did not separate sleep from the rest of their existence. There was no sharp line dividing activity from rest. Instead, there was a gradual descent, a slowing of pace that began hours before the body lay down. Tasks became simpler. Movements became more deliberate. Voices lowered. The nervous system was given time to adjust, to transition, to release the tension accumulated throughout the day. This slow unwinding was essential. Without it, true rest could not arrive. Firelight played a central role in this transition. Unlike modern lighting, fire did not flood the senses. It flickered, it moved, it breathed. Shadows danced softly along walls and faces, creating a visual rhythm that lulled the eyes instead of stimulating them. The warm glow signaled safety and containment, while the darkness beyond the circle of light reminded the body that it was time to withdraw inward. In this environment, the brain did not remain alert. It softened, following the gentle cues of the night. These conditions shaped the way humans understood sleep. Rest was not something earned at the end of exhaustion. It was a respected state, protected through ritual and routine. Before sleep, there were moments of stillness. Sometimes people sat together without speaking, listening to the quiet sounds of nature settling into darkness. Other times, there were soft stories, familiar and repetitive, not meant to excite or surprise, but to reassure. The content mattered less than the cadence, the predictability, the sense of continuity from one night to the next. Water was often part of these nightly preparations. Washing the hands, the face, sometimes the feet, was not only practical but symbolic. It marked the end of the day's labor and the beginning of rest. Cool water against the skin grounded attention in the present moment, drawing awareness out of the mind and back into the body. These simple actions told the nervous system that it was safe to let go, that the work of survival was complete for now. Food, too, played a role, but it was approached differently than in modern life. Evening meals were lighter, slower, and shared without distraction. Eating was not rushed. It was an act of closure, a final nourishment before the body turned inward. This gentle approach prevented the body from remaining in a state of alertness, allowing digestion and rest to coexist peacefully. All of these rituals served the same purpose. They aligned the human body with the environment. There was no conflict between internal rhythms and external signals. Darkness meant rest. Quiet meant safety. Repetition meant stability. Over time, these patterns became deeply embedded in the nervous system, passed from generation to generation, not through instruction, but through experience. As you listen now, your body recognizes these patterns, even if your conscious mind does not. Beneath modern habits, beneath artificial schedules, and constant stimulation, your nervous system still remembers how to follow the night. It remembers how to soften when darkness arrives, how to release vigilance when the world grows quiet. That memory has not been lost. It has only been covered. You may begin to notice subtle changes as you remain here. Your breathing may deepen without effort. The space behind your eyes may feel heavier. The muscles in your jaw, your shoulders, your hands may slowly release tension you are not aware of holding. These shifts are not something you need to control. They are responses, emerging naturally as your body receives familiar signals of safety and rest. Sleep, for ancient humans, was never forced. It was invited. The rituals of the night did not command the body to shut down. They simply removed the obstacles that kept it awake. Tonight, you are doing the same. Be listening by slowing, by allowing this moment to unfold without demand. You are giving your body permission to remember what it already knows. There is nowhere else you need to be, nothing you need to prepare for. The night has arrived, and it is steady, patient, and forgiving. You are held within it, just as countless generations were held before you. And as we move forward, exploring the ancient night rituals that guided humans into deep, restorative sleep, you may find yourself drifting not toward information, but toward rest itself. That is exactly as it should be. For now, remain here, suspended gently between wakefulness and sleep, supported by the same rhythm that has guided human rest for thousands of years. And when the night feels ready to take you deeper, continue. Block 2. When darkness became a signal of safety. In the ancient world, darkness did not arrive as a threat. It arrived as a message the body understood without words, without analysis, without resistance. When the sun slipped below the horizon and the last colors faded from the sky, something ancient awakened inside the human nervous system. The day's demands loosened their grip. Muscles that had been alert softened. The constant scanning of the environment began to slow. Darkness was not interpreted as absence, but as enclosure or protective layer settling gently over the world. This sense of safety did not come from ignorance or naivete. Ancient humans were deeply aware of their surroundings. They knew the sounds of danger and the signs of threat. But because night arrived every single day, with reliable consistency, it became familiar. Familiarity is one of the most powerful regulators of the nervous system. What is familiar does not need to be monitored as closely. What repeats without surprise allows the brain to conserve energy. Over time, the arrival of darkness itself became a cue that vigilance could relax. As night deepened, the environment transformed in subtle but meaningful ways. The heat stored in the earth during the day slowly dissipated, cooling the air and the skin. This drop in temperature helped the body release tension held in the muscles. Breathing naturally deepened, heart rate slowed, even posture shifted, as standing and moving gave way to sitting and resting. These changes were not forced. They unfolded organically, guided by environmental signals that the human body had evolved to follow. Sound played an essential role in this transition. During the day, sound is chaotic and layered, filled with abrupt changes and unpredictable noise. At night, sound becomes simpler, more rhythmic, more repetitive. Insects created steady pulses that filled the silence without breaking it. Wind moved through leaves in slow, continuous waves. The crackle of fire provided a gentle, irregular rhythm that held attention without stimulating it. These sounds did not demand focus. They invited surrender. Ancient humans rarely slept in isolation. Proximity to others was a powerful signal of safety. Sitting or lying near family members or the group allowed nervous systems to synchronize. Breathing patterns slowed together. Heart rhythms aligned subtly. This process, known today as co-regulation, occurred naturally, without conscious intent. When one body relaxed, others followed. Sleep became a collective experience rather than an individual challenge. The gradual dimming of light was perhaps the most important ritual of all. Fire was never extinguished suddenly. Doing so would have shocked the senses and broken the transition. Instead, flames were allowed to fade slowly, leaving behind glowing embers that provided warmth and minimal light. This gentle reduction allowed the eyes to adapt without strain and gave the brain time to adjust to darkness without alarm. The internal descent mirrored the external one. Predictability reinforced this process night after night. The same sequence unfolded with little variation. Activity slowed. Tools were put away. Food was shared calmly. The fire dimmed. Bodies settled. This repetition created a deep sense of trust. When the brain knows what comes next, it does not need to stay alert. Anticipation dissolves. Control becomes unnecessary. Sleep is allowed to arrive naturally. In contrast, unpredictability keeps the nervous system awake. Sudden changes, bright light, loud noise, or unexpected demands force the brain to remain partially engaged. Ancient night rituals minimized these disruptions. Nothing about the night was abrupt. Everything moved gradually, deliberately, gently. Darkness also created a psychological boundary. Beyond the reach of firelight, the world disappeared. There was nothing to see, nothing to evaluate, nothing to plan. This boundary protected the mind from wandering into future concerns or unresolved tasks. The unseen world did not demand attention. It allowed the mind to turn inward, to rest in sensation rather than thought. As you listen now, your body is responding to the same principles. You are not being surprised. The sound is steady. The pace is slow. The environment you are in, whether you realize it or not, is becoming more predictable. This predictability is soothing. It tells your nervous system that there is no immediate need for action. You may feel your awareness narrowing, not as a loss, but as a soft focusing inward. External thoughts may feel more distant. Sensations within your body may become more noticeable. The rise and fall of your chest, the weight of your limbs, the subtle warmth or coolness of the air. These sensations anchor you in the present moment, the same way ancient sounds and firelight anchored early humans. Darkness, when trusted, becomes a container. It holds you. It limits what you must attend to. It reduces the world to something manageable and safe. Ancient humans did not fear the night once they learned its rhythm. They welcomed it as a necessary pause, a sacred interruption of effort. Tonight, you are relearning that trust, not through instruction, but through experience. By remaining here, by allowing this moment to unfold slowly, you are sending the same message to your body that darkness sent for thousands of years. You do not need to watch. You do not need to guard. You do not need to stay alert. The night has arrived. It is familiar. It is steady. It knows how to hold you. And as we continue, we will explore how ancient repetition, rhythm, and gentle storytelling carried the mind even deeper into rest, guiding sleep without force, without urgency, without struggle. For now, allow the darkness to keep working quietly, doing what it has always done best. And when you are ready, we continue deeper still. Block 3. The power of repetition and the sleeping mind. Ancient humans understood something that modern life often interrupts. The mind does not relax through novelty. It relaxes through familiarity, through repetition, through patterns that return night after night without demanding interpretation. When the same actions are repeated in the same sequence, the brain gradually stops asking questions. It no longer needs to predict, evaluate, or prepare. It recognizes the rhythm and begins to follow it, the way a body naturally follows a slow, steady current. In ancient nights, repetition was not boring. It was comforting. Each evening unfolded in a familiar way, not because people lacked imagination, but because predictability created safety. The brain is always scanning for change. When change is constant, vigilance remains high. But when the environment behaves as expected, attention softens. Ancient humans did not think about this consciously. Their nervous systems learned it through experience, through thousands of nights that ended the same way. The sequence rarely changed. As daylight faded, activity slowed. Hands completed simple tasks without urgency. The same places were used for rest. The same gestures were repeated, tending the fire, washing the skin, sitting quietly, lying down in familiar positions. Each repetition strengthened the association between these actions and the coming of sleep. Over time, the body no longer needed instruction. The ritual itself became the signal. This is how the sleeping mind was trained, not through effort, but through consistency. The brain learned that certain sensations meant that alertness was no longer necessary. The dimming of light, the reduction of movement, the steady presence of familiar sounds. These cues did not stimulate thought, they gently dissolved it. Thought was not forced to stop, it simply became unnecessary. Storytelling played a subtle but powerful role in this process. Ancient stories told at night were not meant to excite or surprise. They were often repeated versions of the same myths, the same memories, the same familiar narratives, passed down through generations. The listener already knew how the story would end. There was no suspense to resolve, no mystery to solve. The value of these stories was not in their content, but in their cadence. The voice moved slowly. The tone remained even. The rhythm stayed consistent. This predictability allowed the mind to drift instead of engage. The same story, told the same way. Night after night became a bridge between wakefulness and sleep. As the words flowed, attention loosened. Images softened. Awareness began to slip from linear thinking into something more fluid, more dreamlike. The story did not need to finish. Sleep often arrived before it did. Repetition extended beyond sound and movement. Even the emotional tone of the night remained consistent. Night was not a time for conflict, argument, or intense discussion. Those belonged to daylight. Night was reserved for reassurance, for calm presence, for quiet connection. This emotional predictability further reduced the brain's need to remain alert. There were no emotional threats to monitor, nothing urgent to resolve. Modern neuroscience would later name what ancient humans lived instinctively. The brain seeks patterns, and when patterns are stable, it conserves energy. Ancient rituals created a stable sensory and emotional environment that allowed the nervous system to downshift naturally. Cortisol levels dropped, melatonin increased. The mind transitioned smoothly from external awareness to internal imagery. As you listen now, you may begin to notice how repetition is already working on you. The pace of the words remains steady. The tone does not demand attention. There are no sudden shifts. This consistency is not accidental. It mirrors the same principles ancient humans relied on. Your brain is recognizing the lack of threat, the absence of urgency, the predictability of the rhythm. You may feel moments where your attention drifts slightly, where the exact words become less important than the sound of the voice itself. This is not distraction. It is transition. It is the mind loosening its grip on detail and moving toward a more relaxed state of awareness. Ancient humans trusted this drift. They did not pull themselves back to attention. They allowed it to carry them gently toward sleep. Repetition also created a sense of continuity across generations. Children learned how to sleep by observing how adults prepared for the night. The same rituals were passed down, not as rules, but as lived experience. Over time, these patterns became deeply embedded, shaping how entire cultures related to rest. Sleep was not individualized or optimized. It was shared, trusted, and respected. In contrast, novelty keeps the mind awake. New information demands processing. New stimuli demand evaluation. Ancient nights were intentionally low in novelty. Nothing new was introduced. Nothing unexpected occurred. The brain was given permission to power down, knowing that nothing important would be missed. Tonight, you are recreating this ancient condition by choosing a steady, familiar rhythm instead of constant stimulation. You are giving your nervous system the same opportunity to relax. There is nothing here to solve, nothing to anticipate, nothing to react to. You may notice that time itself feels different now. Minutes may feel longer or shorter. The sense of progression may soften. This change in time perception is another sign that the mind is releasing its grip on linear thought. Ancient humans experienced this every night as they transitioned from the structured time of day into the fluid time of darkness. Repetition does not trap the mind, it frees. Italiano. By removing the need for decision, evaluation, and anticipation. Repetition creates space for rest to emerge naturally. This is why ancient night rituals were so effective. It worked with the brain, not against it. As we move forward, we will explore how ancient breathing patterns, posture, and physical stillness completed this transition, guiding the body fully into sleep without force, without effort, without resistance. As this steady rhythm continues, you do not need to follow it actively or pay attention to every word that passes through your awareness. The mind naturally loosens its focus when it recognizes that nothing unexpected is about to happen. And within that recognition, it begins to rest. Familiarity deepens, not as an effort, but as a feeling. A quiet sense that the environment around you is stable, predictable, and safe. Repetition does not pull you downward or push you anywhere. It simply removes the need to stay alert, allowing your awareness to soften and settle on its own. There is nothing arriving that requires your attention, nothing new that demands analysis or response. The night is not building toward anything. It is simply unfolding at its own pace, patient and unhurried, creating a space where rest can wait calmly, close enough to be felt, without needing to announce itself. Block 4. How the body was gently prepared for sleep. Ancient humans did not expect the body to switch abruptly from activity to rest. They understood, intuitively and through lived experience, that the body needed guidance, not commands. Sleep was not something imposed at the end of the day, but something the body was slowly escorted into through a sequence of physical signals that communicated safety, completion, and permission. These signals were not abstract ideas. They were sensations felt directly in the muscles, the breath, the skin, and the posture of the body itself. As night approached, movement naturally changed. The fast, expansive motions of daylight gave way to smaller, more contained gestures. People sat more than they stood. They leaned rather than walked. The spine softened, no longer held upright in readiness. This gradual reduction in physical intensity allowed the muscles to release stored tension without shock. The body learned that it was no longer required to be efficient, strong, or alert. It was allowed to be heavy. Breathing shifted as well. During the day, breath is often shallow and responsive, adjusting constantly to effort and attention. At night, ancient humans allowed breath to slow without interference, sitting close to others, listening to the steady sounds of the environment. The breath naturally lengthened. Exhalations became longer than inhalations, signaling to the nervous system that it was safe to disengage from action. There was no technique to follow, no pattern to remember. The environment itself guided the breath. Posture played a quiet but powerful role in this transition. Bodies were positioned in ways that encouraged surrender rather than readiness. Knees bent, shoulders rounded slightly, the neck released its forward tension. These positions were not chosen for comfort alone, but because they communicated vulnerability without fear. Lying down was not an act of collapse. It was an act of trust, a signal that the body believed it was safe enough to rest without defense. Touch was also an important part of these preparations. Warmth from fire, shared blankets, or the proximity of others reassured the body at a primal level. The skin, as the largest sensory organ, received constant feedback that it was protected from the cold and supported by the group. This sensory reassurance allowed deeper layers of tension to dissolve, layers that only release when the body no longer feels exposed. Even the ground itself contributed to this process. Sleeping on earth, stone, or simple materials provided firm, consistent feedback to the body. Unlike soft modern surfaces that can confuse posture and awareness, these natural supports made the boundaries of the body clear. The body knew where it ended and where the ground began. This clarity reduced unconscious effort, allowing muscles to stop adjusting and finally rest. Ancient night rituals often included moments of stillness that were not yet sleep, sitting quietly, lying awake without stimulation, simply feeling the body exist in the dark. These moments were not seen as failure or restlessness. They were understood as part of the transition. The body needed time to recalibrate, to move from doing into being. This in-between state was respected, not resisted. As the body settled, awareness shifted inward. Sensations that had been drowned out during the day became more noticeable. The weight of the limbs, the gentle pull of gravity, the slow rhythm of the breath moving through the chest and abdomen. Attention was no longer pulled outward by tasks or threats. It was free to rest within the body itself. This inward shift was essential. Without it, true rest could not take hold. The absence of sudden stimuli protected this process. There were no abrupt lights, no sharp sounds, no unexpected interruptions. Everything about the environment supported continuity. This allowed the nervous system to remain in a downward trajectory, rather than being pulled back into alertness. Once the descent began, it was allowed to continue uninterrupted. Modern bodies still respond to these same principles, even if modern environments rarely support them. The body has not forgotten how to prepare for sleep. It simply waits for the right conditions. As you listen now, many of these signals are already present. Reduced movement, steady sound, limited visual input, a sense of containment. These cues are enough to begin the process. You may notice that your body feels heavier now than it did earlier. Not because you are more tired, but because you are no longer holding unnecessary tension. The effort of staying upright, attentive, and responsive is slowly being released. This heaviness is not something to resist. It is a sign that the body is doing exactly what it was designed to do at night. Ancient humans trusted this process completely. They did not watch themselves falling asleep. They did not evaluate their progress. They simply allowed the body to complete its own transition, knowing that sleep would arrive when the conditions were right. Tonight, you are being invited to adopt that same trust. There is no correct way to feel right now. Whatever sensations are present are part of the descent. The body knows how to finish what it has begun. And as we move forward, we will explore how ancient humans used scent, warmth, and subtle sensory cues to deepen this physical preparation even further, guiding the body into sleep with quiet precision, patience, and care. Block 5. Scent, warmth, and the language of the senses. Ancient humans understood that the body does not prepare for sleep through thought alone, but through sensation. Long before language explained what was happening, the senses already knew how to guide the nervous system toward rest. Smell, warmth, and gentle tactile cues formed a quiet language that spoke directly to the deeper layers of the brain, bypassing analyses and entering the body as reassurance. These sensory rituals were subtle, almost invisible, yet profoundly effective, shaping how the body interpreted the night. Scent was one of the most powerful signals. Natural smells associated with evening and safety became anchors for rest. The scent of smoke, clinging lightly to clothing and hair after the fire had been tended. The earthy aroma of soil cooling after sunset, the faint presence of dried plants stored nearby, all combined into a familiar sensory environment. These smells did not stimulate curiosity. They signaled continuity. They told the brain that this night was like the many nights before it, and that nothing unfamiliar had entered the space. Certain plants were intentionally brought closer to sleeping areas, not for mystical reasons alone, but because their scents were calming and predictable. Herbs, dried grasses, and resins released gentle aromas when warmed by nearby embers or body heat. These scents lingered without intensity, creating a background signal of familiarity. Over time, the nervous system learned to associate these smells with safety and rest, responding automatically with relaxation. Warmth played an equally important role. Fire was not only a source of light, but of regulated heat. Ancient humans knew instinctively how much warmth was enough. Too much heat kept the body alert. Too little forced it into vigilance. The ideal warmth allowed muscles to soften without triggering discomfort. Sitting near the fire before sleep allowed the body to absorb heat, raising skin temperature just enough that, when moving away from the fire, the natural cooling signaled the brain that rest was approaching. This gentle cooling after warmth is a powerful biological cue. As core temperature begins to drop slightly, the body becomes more receptive to sleep. Ancient humans did not measure this process. They felt it. They recognized the subtle shift that occurred when warmth gave way to cool night air, and they allowed it to guide them naturally toward rest. Clothing and coverings were also part of this sensory preparation. Materials were simple, familiar, and consistent. Animal skins, woven fabrics, or shared coverings provided gentle pressure against the body. Dispressur, even when light, offered reassurance. It created a sense of containment, reminding the body of its boundaries and reducing unconscious movement. The sensation was not restrictive. It was grounding. Touch, even when minimal, communicated safety. The feeling of fabric against the skin, the shared warmth of others nearby, the steady contact with the ground beneath the body, all worked together to tell the nervous system that it was supported. When the body feels supported, it stops bracing. When it stops bracing, it can rest. Ancient sleeping environments were intentionally simple. There were no competing sensory demands, no bright colors, no sudden noises, no artificial fragrances overwhelming the senses. This simplicity allowed each sensation to be processed fully without confusion. The brain did not need to prioritize or filter aggressively. Everything present had a clear meaning: safety, familiarity, rest. As awareness softened, attention naturally moved away from the outer world and toward internal sensations. The rhythm of breathing, the slow pulse of blood, the subtle warmth retained in the muscles. These sensations became more noticeable as external input diminished. This inward turn was not forced. It occurred naturally when the senses were no longer overloaded. Modern neuroscience recognizes that sensory overload keeps the nervous system alert. Ancient humans avoided this instinctively at night. They reduced sensory complexity, allowing the brain to downshift. Smell remained gentle and familiar. Warmth was balanced. Touch was steady. Sound was predictable. Light was minimal. Together, these elements created an environment that made sleep the most logical next step. As you listen now, many of these same principles are at work. Even without conscious awareness, your body responds to steady sound, limited visual input, and the absence of sudden change. If you imagine warmth spreading gently through your body, or notice the temperature of the air around you, you are engaging the same sensory pathways ancient humans relied on. You may feel a subtle sense of being enclosed, even if you are alone. This sense of enclosure is not about physical walls. It is about predictability and continuity. When the senses receive consistent, non-threatening input, the nervous system relaxes its guard. Ancient night rituals did not stimulate imagination. They soothed it. They did not introduce novelty. They removed it. This is why sleep arrived without struggle. The body was not asked to do anything extraordinary. It was simply allowed to respond to conditions it recognized as safe. If your thoughts feel slower now, less defined, that is a natural response to reduced sensory demand. The mind follows the body. When the body feels safe and supported, the mind no longer needs to remain sharp. There is no rush in this process. Sensory signals work gradually, layering reassurance until vigilance dissolves on its own. Ancient humans trusted this layering completely. They did not interrupt it with effort or impatience. As we move forward, we will explore how the final moments before sleep were protected from disturbance, and how ancient humans allowed the mind to drift freely into rest without monitoring the transition. For now, remain with the sensations that are present, knowing that they are quietly guiding you in the same way they guided countless generations before you, toward a place where effort is no longer required and rest is allowed to take over naturally. Block 6. Guarding the threshold between wakefulness and sleep. Ancient humans understood that the moment just before sleep was not an empty pause or a waiting room, but a meaningful state in itself. A slow suspension where the body and mind gradually release their attachment to the waking world. This threshold between wakefulness and rest was approached with quiet respect, because it represented a process already unfolding beneath conscious awareness. By the time night rituals had softened the senses and slowed the body, sleep was no longer something to pursue or achieve. It was already nearby, present as a gentle gravitational pull rather than a destination. The only task was to avoid disturbing what was already happening. In this state, the body naturally sought stillness, not because movement was prohibited, but because it no longer served a purpose. Muscles that had worked throughout the day no longer needed to prepare for action or resistance. The body instinctively chose positions that required the least amount of effort to maintain. Limbs rested where they fell, without adjustment. The spine softened, no longer holding itself upright. The head became heavy, supported fully rather than balanced. Ancient humans did not search for perfect comfort. They trusted the body's intelligence to settle where it needed to, knowing that rest deepens not through optimization, but through surrender. This stillness was not rigid. Small movements were allowed, but they became slower, quieter, almost absent. A hand might shift slightly. A shoulder might sink a little deeper. These movements were not attempts to fix discomfort, but natural adjustments as the body released layers of tension it had been holding unconsciously. Over time, even these small movements faded, as the body realized it no longer needed to adapt. Breathing continued its gradual transformation, becoming slower and quieter without conscious direction. Each inhale arrived gently. Each exhale lingered just a little longer, allowing the nervous system to release tension bit by bit. There was no effort to guide the breath, no counting, no technique. The breath followed the environment, responding to stillness, darkness, warmth, and the absence of demand. In this way, the body reassured itself that vigilance was no longer required. With the slowing of breath came a subtle change in internal sensation. The chest felt less active. The abdomen moved more freely. The space inside the body felt wider, less compressed by urgency. This internal spaciousness was not dramatic. It was quiet, almost unnoticeable, yet deeply calming. Ancient humans did not name this sensation. They simply allowed it to happen. The mind, during this threshold, also changed its behavior. Structured thinking loosened its grip. Thoughts lost their sharp edges and linear sequence. They appeared as fragments rather than narratives, as impressions rather than conclusions. Memories from the day might surface briefly, incomplete and without emotional charge, dissolving before demanding attention. Images drifted through awareness without story or meaning attached. Ancient humans did not resist this mental softening. They recognized it as a natural sign that the mind was withdrawing from the external world and turning inward, preparing the ground for dreams. There was no attempt to stop thinking. Thought was allowed to slow and scatter on its own. Trying to control the mind would have reactivated effort, and effort belonged to the day, not the night. Instead, The mind was given permission to wander aimlessly, knowing that direction was no longer required. This wandering was not distraction. It was the natural unwinding of mental structure. Silence played a central role in protecting this state. Silence was not absolute, but gentle and predictable. The quiet sounds of night continued without interruption, forming a soft background that required no interpretation. These sounds reassured the nervous system that the environment remained stable. Nothing new was approaching. Nothing demanded reaction. In this reassurance, awareness could continue to fade without fear. Visual input remained minimal and unchallenging. With little to see, the eyes no longer searched or focused. Eyelids grew heavy, not from exhaustion alone, but from the absence of visual demand. The muscles around the eyes released their habitual tension gradually, allowing vision to soften rather than shut down abruptly. Ancient humans did not force their eyes closed. Closure happened naturally when the brain no longer needed visual information. Emotionally, this threshold was free from expectation. Night was not a time for problem-solving, self-reflection, or anticipation of the future. Those activities belonged to daylight. At night, emotional intensity flattened gently. Concerns lost their urgency. Even unresolved matters softened, not because they were solved, but because they were no longer relevant in this state. The nervous system was not asked to resolve anything before resting. Another essential aspect of this threshold was the absence of time awareness. Without clocks, without schedules, without artificial markers, there was no sense of delay or impatience. Minutes did not exist as units to be measured. The night did not move toward a deadline. This timelessness allowed the body to follow its own internal rhythm without interference. Sleep arrived when it arrived, not when it was expected. Protection from disturbance extended beyond the individual to the entire environment. Once the night reached this stage, nothing new was introduced. No additional light, no new sounds, no sudden movements. Eventified, if still present, remained low and consistent. This stability communicated continuity, allowing the nervous system to continue its descent without interruption. Ancient humans intuitively understood that novelty at this stage would pull awareness back toward alertness. Underlying all of this was a deep, embodied trust in the process itself. Sleep had arrived reliably for countless nights before. There was no reason to doubt that it would arrive again. This trust removed the final layer of resistance. The body was not watched. The mind was not monitored. Attention drifted freely without supervision. As you listen now, you may recognize this same suspended state within yourself, where awareness feels diffuse, where the boundary between thought and sensation becomes indistinct. You may feel present without effort, aware without focus. This is not a state to analyze or improve. It is a state to inhabit. By remaining here without expectation, you allow the same ancient sequence to complete itself. If sleep is not yet arrived, it does not mean it is late. It means the transition is still unfolding. The nervous system is completing its work quietly, layer by layer, beneath conscious awareness. Ancient humans allowed this process to remain invisible, trusting that sleep did not need to announce itself to be real. Often, the exact moment of falling asleep was not remembered at all. Awareness simply dissolved, giving way to dreams without ceremony. This quiet disappearance of wakefulness was not accidental. It was the result of protection, patience, and deep trust cultivated night after night. Remain here as long as you need to. There is nothing you must notice, nothing you must achieve. The threshold knows how to close on its own, and when it does, sleep will arrive gently, without effort, without signal, just as it has for humans across thousands of nights. Block 7, when dreams were allowed to rise naturally. Ancient humans did not see dreams as something separate from sleep, nor as an event that suddenly began once wakefulness ended. Dreams were understood as a natural continuation of the night's descent, rising gently as the mind released its grip on structure and certainty. There was no sharp boundary between being awake and dreaming. Instead, awareness softened gradually, and dreams emerged quietly, like mist lifting from the ground when the air finally cools enough to allow it. In the ancient night, the mind was never forced into sleep, and for this reason, dreams were not forced either, because the transition into rest was protected and unhurried. The dreaming mind had space to form without disruption. Images appeared slowly, often blending with waking sensations. Sounds from the environment might weave themselves into early dream imagery. Familiar shapes, memories, and impressions drifted in without demand or interpretation. This gentle emergence allowed the dreaming state to feel continuous rather than abrupt. Dreams were not treated as interruptions or distractions. They were accepted as part of the night's work. Ancient humans understood, even without scientific language, that the mind needed this inner movement to process, experience, release emotional residue, and reorganize memory. Because the day had already been set aside with care, dreams were not burdened with unresolved urgency. They unfolded freely, without pressure to explain or resolve. The body's stillness supported this process. Because muscles were already relaxed and movement was minimal, the brain could redirect energy inward. The physical environment remained unchanged as dreams began. Lights stayed low, sounds remained predictable. Temperature remained steady. This stability allowed dreams to deepen without pulling the sleeper back toward alertness. There was no sudden shift in conditions to fragment the experience. Ancient humans did not wake themselves to observe their dreams. They did not analyze them in the moment. Dreams belonged to the night, not to waking consciousness. This lack of monitoring allowed the dreaming state to remain fluid and immersive. Awareness did not hover above the dream, it sank into Italiano. The dream became the dominant mode of experience, not something observed from a distance. Because sleep arrived without force, dreams also carried a sense of softness. Even intense imagery did not necessarily provoke alarm. The nervous system was already in a state of trust, and this trust extended into the dream world. Dreams could move freely without triggering the body's defenses. This allowed deeper stages of rest to develop, stages where the body and mind could fully disengage from vigilance. In many ancient cultures, the content of dreams was less important than the quality of rest they supported. Dreams were not collected or cataloged every morning. They were allowed to fade naturally upon waking unless they carried strong emotional significance. This approach prevented the mind from clinging to dream imagery or replaying it repeatedly, which could disrupt the next cycle of rest. The boundary between dream and non-dream sleep was fluid. Periods of imagery might dissolve into deeper, quieter states, then rise again gently later in the night. Ancient humans did not try to control this movement. They trusted the night to regulate itself. The nervous system moved through these stages organically, guided by internal rhythms rather than external schedules. This trust extended into waking as well. When morning came, people did not abruptly tear themselves from sleep. Awakening was gradual, often prompted by natural light or subtle environmental sounds. This gentle return prevented the shock that can fracture rest. Dreams faded softly, leaving behind a sense of completeness rather than disruption. As you listen now, you may begin to notice moments where imagery arises spontaneously, without effort. Fleeting scenes, colors, or impressions may drift through your awareness. These are not distractions. They are signs that the mind is approaching the same threshold ancient humans crossed every night. You do not need to follow these images or hold on to them. Allow them to appear and disappear naturally. If your thoughts feel less verbal now, more visual or abstract, that is a natural progression. The mind is shifting away from language and toward sensation and imagery. This shift does not require encouragement. It happens when the nervous system feels safe enough to let go of structure. Ancient humans did not fear losing control in sleep. Control belonged to the day. At night, surrender was not weakness. It was wisdom. By allowing dreams to arise naturally, They allowed the mind to complete its work without interference. You may feel as though you are drifting in and out of awareness now, touching the edges of dreams without fully entering them. This hovering is part of the transition. There is no need to decide whether you are awake or asleep. That distinction becomes less meaningful as the night deepens. The dreaming mind does not require effort. It emerges when effort disappears. By remaining here, listening without expectation, you are creating the same conditions ancient humans relied on. The night is free to do its work. As we continue, we will explore how these dream states blended into the deepest forms of rest, and how ancient humans allowed the body to recover fully through long, uninterrupted cycles of sleep, guided not by schedules, but by the natural intelligence of the night. For now, allow whatever images or sensations arise to pass without attention. The night does not need to be watched. It knows where it is going, and it knows how to take you with it. Log 8, the deepest rest, and the body's quiet repair. Ancient humans did not divide sleep into categories or stages, but they recognized when the deepest form of rest had arrived. There was a particular stillness to this part of the night, a quality that felt different from dreaming or drifting. The body no longer shifted or adjusted. Breath became so quiet it was barely perceptible, no longer moving with intention, but simply continuing on its own. Awareness receded so fully that even images and dreams dissolved into a dark, spacious calm. This was the core of the night, the point where the body stopped responding to the outer world altogether and turned all of its attention inward. In this deepest rest, the environment no longer mattered in any conscious sense. Sounds could exist without being registered. Temperature changes, if they occurred, no longer demanded adjustment. Sensation narrowed to the most basic signals of safety and continuity. The simple knowledge that the body was supported and protected. The nervous system reached a depth where vigilance disappeared completely. There was no readiness, no monitoring, no anticipation. Ancient humans trusted this state instinctively because it was familiar. They had entered it countless times before, and each time they emerged from it restored. Without language or science to describe it, ancient cultures understood the importance of this depth through observation alone. They noticed that bodies which reached deep rest healed more completely. Strength returned without effort, emotional weight soft. The mind felt clearer and less burdened upon waking. When this depth was interrupted or shortened, its absence was felt immediately the next day as fatigue, irritability, or fragility. Through lived experience, they learned that this state was not optional. It was essential. During this phase, the body's internal systems worked quietly and continuously. Muscles released residual tension that could not dissolve during lighter sleep. Micro repairs occurred in tissues, strained by movement and labor. The immune system conducted its maintenance without urgency, responding to signals too subtle to reach conscious awareness. Hormonal rhythms recalibrated, restoring balance gradually rather than abruptly. The brain entered its most restorative mode, clearing metabolic waste, reinforcing meaningful neural pathways, and loosening those no longer needed. None of this required attention. In fact, attention would have disrupted it. Ancient humans did not attempt to remain partially awake during this depth. There was no belief that something needed to be watched or supervised. Consciousness was allowed to disappear entirely. This disappearance was not feared. It was welcomed. They trusted the body to function without oversight, knowing from experience that awareness would return when the night was complete. This trust was one of the most important elements of deep rest. Without it, vigilance would linger. The continuity of the environment allowed this state to last. Once deep rest arrived, nothing changed. No lights appeared suddenly. No new sounds entered the space. No movement disturbed the stillness. Even the fire, if it remained, stayed low and constant. This stability allowed the nervous system to remain settled for long, uninterrupted stretches, completing full cycles of repair. Ancient humans intuitively understood that consistency mattered more than comfort. Predictability allowed the body to stay deep, If awareness surfaced briefly during the night, it was not treated as a problem. A moment of waking might pass quietly, without reaction. There was no frustration, no checking of surroundings, no internal commentary, because the conditions that supported deep rest were still present. The body returned to it naturally, without effort. These brief surfacings did not fragment the night. They were absorbed into it. In this, depth time ceased to exist in any meaningful way. There was no sense of duration, no memory formation as it occurs during waking. This is why large portions of the night were often forgotten entirely. Ancient humans did not interpret this forgetting as loss. They understood it as proof that rest had been complete. Remembering was never the goal. Restoration was, as you listen now, you may already be approaching this same depth. Words may begin to lose clarity, meaning may soften and blur. Sound may merge into a single continuous presence rather than distinct phrases. This is not a failure of attention. It is a sign that the mind is releasing its need to track, organize, and remember. You may notice that awareness feels distant, as though you are listening from far away, or you may feel deeply inside the body, grounded and heavy. Both experiences are natural here. Boundaries loosen. The body becomes less of an object to manage and more of a quiet field of sensation. This shift happens without effort, without decision, when the nervous system feels safe enough to let go. Ancient humans did not resist this fading. They did not cling to awareness or attempt to stay present. They trusted the night to carry them when consciousness dissolved. This trust removed the final barrier to the deepest rest. There was no hesitation at the edge, no need to witness the transition. Awareness simply slipped away. Often, the exact moment of entering this depth was never remembered. There was no marker, no sensation to note. Consciousness dissolved without ceremony, leaving the body to continue its work alone. Guided by rhythms far older than thought or language, the night moved on without needing permission. If you find yourself forgetting what was just said, or losing track of the narrative entirely, that is not a problem to correct. It is evidence that the process is already underway. The mind is no longer organizing experience for recall. It is resting. The deepest rest does not need encouragement. It arrives when nothing interferes with it. And once it arrives, the body begins its most essential work quietly, invisibly, without asking anything of you. Remain here without holding on to anything. There is nothing you need to follow, nothing you need to remember. The night is already doing what it has always done, and you are allowed to sink as deeply as you need, knowing that restoration does not require effort, only the absence of resistance. Block 9. The slow return toward morning awareness. Ancient humans never experienced waking as a sudden interruption of sleep. The return from deep rest was understood as another sacred transition, one that required just as much patience and respect as the descent into the night. Awareness did not snap back into place. It returned gradually, quietly, almost cautiously, as though testing the environment before fully re-entering it. The night did not release the body abruptly. It loosened its hold slowly, allowing rest to complete its work before the mind was asked to engage again. The first signs of this return were subtle and physical rather than mental. Breathing changed before thought did. The breath became slightly deeper, still slow and unforced, but more present. The chest and abdomen moved with a bit more clarity, as if the body were gently checking in with itself. Muscles remained relaxed, but they began to regain a soft tone, not tension, just readiness. This shift did not announce itself. It unfolded quietly, guided by internal rhythms that required no attention. During this phase, the body remained a leader. Conscious thought lagged behind. Awareness floated somewhere between sleep and waking, not anchored to either. Sensation was present, but vague. The body felt heavy and light at the same time, grounded yet spacious. Ancient humans trusted this ambiguity. They did not rush to define their state. They allowed the transition to exist without labels. Dream activity often resurfaced here, but not as full stories. Instead, fragments appeared, fleeting images, colors, textures, a sense of motion without direction. These impressions drifted through awareness without pulling it fully awake. They were neither dreams nor thoughts, but something in between. Ancient humans did not chase these images or attempt to interpret them. They allowed them to pass naturally, knowing that this gentle overlap between dreaming and waking softened the return. The environment supported this process perfectly. Darkness did not disappear suddenly. It thinned. Shadows soft. The quality of the night changed almost imperceptibly. Light entered gradually, not as brightness, but as a shift in tone. The air itself felt different. Sounds changed slowly as well. The deep stillness of night gave way to faint movement, distant life, subtle signals that the world was beginning to stir again. These changes were gentle enough that the nervous system did not register them as demands. Ancient humans did not immediately open their eyes. Vision returned only when the body was ready to receive it. Eyelids lifted slowly, sometimes remaining half closed as the eyes adjusted to changing light. Focus did not snap into place. It developed gradually. This slow reintroduction of visual input protected the nervous system from overload, allowing orientation without stress. Emotionally, the return from sleep was neutral and spacious. There was no immediate recall of identity, responsibility, or concern. The emotional field remained open and quiet. This emotional emptiness was not a lack, it was a gift. It allowed the benefits of deep rest to settle fully before the mind re-engaged with meaning and memory. Ancient humans instinctively protected this state, knowing that waking into urgency fractured rest, while waking into calm preserved it. Movement returned slowly, guided by sensation rather than intention. Remembered patterns of stretching emerged naturally. Limbs extended gently. Joints loosened without force. The spine lengthened as the body tested gravity again. These movements were not routines or exercises. They were instinctive explorations, quiet conversations between body and space. Standing did not happen immediately. Rising was not rushed. The body took its time. Thought returned last. When it did, it arrived softly, without momentum. Ideas formed loosely, without urgency or structure. Attention drifted rather than focused. The mind did not immediately harden around plans or tasks. Ancient humans allowed this softness to remain as long as possible, understanding that once the mind fully engaged with effort, the night would truly be over. This slow return served an important purpose. It created a buffer between rest and action. Without this buffer, the nervous system would be pulled too quickly back into vigilance. By allowing awareness to return gradually, the calm cultivated during the night extended into the early moments of the day. The tone of waking shaped the tone of everything that followed. Ancient humans trusted this rhythm completely. They did not cling to sleep when it began to release them, nor did they hurry toward wakefulness. They allowed the night to let go when the body was ready. This trust prevented anxiety from entering either state. Sleep and waking were not opposing forces. They were movements within the same continuous cycle. As you listen now, you may notice elements of this same process unfolding within you. Awareness may feel lighter. Sensation may shift subtly. Thoughts may begin to form without urgency, or you may drift back toward deeper rest again. Both are natural. The body moves fluidly between states when it is not controlled or monitored. Ancient humans did not interfere with these movements. They did not force themselves to stay asleep or to wake. They allowed the body to regulate itself, trusting its timing. That same intelligence is present within you now. Even after waking fully, the influence of the night lingered. Movements remained slower. Attention remained softer. The mind did not immediately sharpen into This lingering calm was not accidental. It was the result of honoring the entire cycle, from descent to depth, to return, without interruption. As this journey approaches its final movement, the night feels complete. Not because something has ended, but because nothing was rushed. Every phase was allowed its time. Whether awareness continues to drift or slowly returns, there is nothing you need to decide. Remain exactly where you are. There is no wrong place to be within this rhythm. The same ancient intelligence that guided humans into sleep and back into waking for thousands of years is guiding you now. Quietly, patiently, without effort. And when the night is ready to release you fully, it will do so gently, leaving behind not tension or urgency, but a quiet sense of having been deeply held. Block 10. Returning to the ancient rhythm of rest. For ancient humans, the night was never an interruption to life, nor a pause between moments that truly mattered. It was life continuing in a quieter form, a phase where effort dissolved and existence became simple again. Sleep was not treated as a task to complete or a state to reach. It was the natural consequence of allowing the day to end without resistance. When darkness arrived, it was received as something familiar, something the body recognized long before the mind tried to understand it. This relationship with the night created a deep sense of trust. Trust that the body knew how to rest. Trust that awareness could disappear without danger. Trust that letting go was not loss, but restoration. Over generations, this trust shaped the nervous system itself. Humans learned, through repetition rather than instruction, that nothing needed to be held together during the night. The body could fall apart gently and reassemble itself by morning. The rhythm of rest was not imposed. It emerged naturally once the noise of the day faded. Muscles stopped bracing, breath stopped adjusting, thoughts stopped organizing. What remained was a quiet presence that did not need to be named. In this presence, the body no longer performed for survival or productivity. It simply existed, supported by darkness, stillness, and familiarity. Ancient humans did not try to stay aware during the night. Awareness belonged to the day. At night, awareness was allowed to thin, to stretch, to dissolve. There was no fear in this dissolution, because it happened every night and always ended the same way. With renewal, the body learned that it could disappear into rest and return whole. This certainty removed the last barrier to deep sleep. The night was not rushed. It was not divided into hours or segments. It unfolded as a continuous field of time where nothing needed to be measured. Without clocks or expectations, there was no sense of being late or early. There was only now, slowly giving way to deeper now, until even that distinction faded. This timelessness allowed the body to remain in rest as long as it needed, without interruption. In peace, the body worked quietly, without supervision. Tension released from places that had been holding it for days, weeks, sometimes longer. Systems recalibrated themselves without urgency. The mind reorganized memories without replaying them. Emotional residue softened without needing resolution. None of this required awareness. In fact, awareness would have interfered with it. The most important work of the night happened precisely because it was unseen. Ancient humans did not evaluate their sleep while it was happening. They did not wonder whether it was deep enough or long enough. They allowed the night to be what it was. In the morning, they felt the result. Strength returned. Patience expanded. Attention steadied. This was how sleep was measured, not by analysis, but by its aftermath.
That same ancient rhythm is present now, even if it feels distant or unfamiliar at first. It has not disappeared. It has simply been waiting beneath layers of stimulation and habit. As those layers fall away, the rhythm begins to surface again, guiding the body gently without instruction. You do not need to remember it consciously. Your nervous system already knows it. At this point, you may not be following these words in a linear way. Meaning may blur. exactly how it should be. The mind is no longer required to track, interpret, or remember. It is allowed to rest as deeply as the body. If thoughts appear, they do not need to be completed. If images arise, they do not need to be followed. If awareness fades, there is no need to return. The night does not demand participation. It continues its work, whether you observe it or not. This is not something to manage. It is something to allow. Ancient humans trusted the night enough to disappear into it completely. They did not cling to identity, memory, or control. Those belonged to daylight. At night, even the sense of self softened. This softening was not frightening, it was relieving. It meant that nothing needed to be maintained. The body responds to this permission immediately. When there is nothing to hold, it stops holding. When there is nothing to monitor, vigilance dissolves. When there is nothing to achieve, effort fades. In this absence of demand, rest deepens naturally, without force. You may feel as though time itself has slowed or stopped. Minutes may feel indistinguishable. There may be no clear sense of before or after. This loss of temporal structure is one of the clearest signs that the ancient rhythm has taken over. The body no longer measures, it simply rests. The night does not need to end for this rest to be complete. Whether awareness returns later or remains absent for a long while, the work continues uninterrupted. The body does not rush. It finishes what it needs to finish in its own time. There is nothing you need to remember from this moment. There is nothing you need to carry forward. The night is not giving you information. It is giving you space. Space to be empty. Space to be quiet. Space to disappear without consequence. Ancient humans understood that rest was not passive. It was active in a different way, happening beneath awareness rather than within it. This understanding removed guilt, anxiety, and impatience from sleep. The night was allowed to do what it had always done best. As this rhythm continues, you are free to let go completely. You do not need to stay with the sound. You do not need to stay with the words. You do not need to stay at all. The night will continue whether you are present or not. And when awareness eventually returns, whether soon or much later, it will do so gently, without shock, without urgency, without tearing you away from rest. It will return carrying the quiet strength, steadiness, and softness that only deep, unforced sleep can provide. For now, there is nothing left to do, nothing left to follow, nothing left to hold. The ancient rhythm is complete, and it knows how to carry you the rest of the way, quietly, patiently, without asking anything of you at all.